everyone. You are going to be enjoying that background for a while. That background noise is... Yes, we don't live on a farm. We live next to a farm, and I'm telling you, the soundtrack is quite interesting. It's like a competition between all the they're called roosters, what are the cocks or the whatever, every 2 seconds. So I wanted to do a different segment for Just a Mom. I've been thinking of speaking more from the heart and not only just doing vlogs, which I think are awesome as well. But I feel that sometimes I usually have so many thoughts in my mind, and I'm a thinker. I can spend hours thinking about specific things, and I figured, I'm sure a lot of you share the same thoughts about some of the topics that I'm going to bring up. So I want this to be like a Dear Diary kind of moment where the vulnerable side comes out, where with no masks, with no inhibitions whatsoever. So yeah, the first thing I wanted to talk about today is about let me start with this Bible verse, because the thought process of this topic came from this. So in Romans 12 verse 2, it says, "Don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will know what God wants you to do, and you will know how good and pleasing and perfect His will really is." So that's from the NLT version. So this verse I've had it so many times over the years of my life as a Christian, but I feel like this year has been when it has come. It has become almost alive and more relatable. What do I mean by that? What is God? So I asked myself a question when I read this verse this week and even last week. What is it that God is talking about in my life? What ways have I been conforming to the world's standards? So I'll start with how I viewed success. So if you've been following my channel for a few years or months or whatever, you know that I left a well-paying job, a very comfortable job, and and chose to stay home and raise our daughter. And later I suffered a crisis of identity. Like, I had no idea who I was anymore, because I'd been so used to being seen as this girl, this lady who works, who has it all together, who has money coming in. She's able to buy the nice things, she's able to go to places, she's able to hang out with her friends, travel whenever she wants to. And when all that stopped, it has taken a while for me to rebuild and figure out, hey, who am I? Who am I really? What's my identity now that I no longer fit in that mold of a working class woman, who's doing well for herself, who's driving a certain car, who's able to, save or go on holidays to specific places. Who am I then? And I feel like God has been rebuilding that value of success for me, because I was conforming. That's an example of me conforming. And I've been asking God to help me to figure out again who I am in Him, because He is the one who created me. He knows the purpose I was created for. And so instead of viewing myself in the lenses of the world, I need to start viewing myself in the lenses of God. Don't measure yourself according to the the threads or the posts on Instagram, when everyone seems to be doing 10 times better than you. Why am I comparing myself? Those are the things that cause me to get depressed. When you're huko dying and wishing for a holiday, and you're looking at your your bank balance and it's laughing at you. You want to go to Dioni, you don't have the money. But when you go on Instagram, everyone has the money. Oh my God! And you start feeling sorry for yourself. But you know what? That's their season. Yours might come, yours might not come. But I'm learning to just be content in the season. Yes, chickens, I hear you. Yeah, so another way I used to view myself according to the standards of the world is when it comes to education. Lately, definitely everyone who has children has gotten affected this year since Corona happened. Our children have not been in school. And for those lucky ones who, have private schools that had a virtual education program, and you had the money to, to pay for it, your children have been learning as usual. So earlier this year, when Corona happened, obviously, at least for my family, we suffered financially because it felt like everyone had shut down their finances per se, because everyone was trying to recuperate or figure out what's happening. So there was no money. And so when the time came for the school that Taji was going to a school that I won't mention, but she was going to school, and they had a virtual program, but we couldn't afford it. And so when we wrote to the school and said we are choosing to not participate this term because things are not good financially. We're literally on survival mode. Are you going to pay for school fees, or are you going to buy food? I mean, when it comes down to such a decision, you decide to buy the essentials for the household, right? Yeah. So we told the school we can't afford this term, and their response was that if she is not able to sign up for this term, then chances are she won't find a space this term, because they wanted now to give her position to somebody else who might be on the waiting list. And that stung. I mean, that felt it was hurtful. But you can understand where the school was coming from, because everyone at that time, everyone was looking for ways to make money. I know they needed to pay their bills, they needed to pay teachers, they needed to pay for resources, and etc, etc. But then now in my head, since then I've been thinking, panicking and thinking in my head, oh my God, Taji now no longer belongs to a school. Oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen next year when every other child goes back to school? Does this mean now she's going to be forever homeschooled? Am I ready? Oh my God. That is the nature of the thoughts in my head. They usually spiral from one thing and now go into a spiral of many, 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 many thoughts. And I more or less came up with a plan for her. We basically just continued from where she had left off in school, and luckily we had some books the textbooks that they were using in school. So I basically just used to sit with her every day and just go through what she'd learned and now continue. But in my head, I had that. I had that, what's that word? That voice just always telling me, is this enough? How far are her classmates done? How much more have her classmates done? Maybe now they will learn how to read. Taji still learn. Oh my gosh! I'm always feeling like it's never enough. Like I can't catch up. Like she'll never catch up when she's measured against her age mates who are now virtual learning. Will she ever catch up? So now fast forward even now to this time, oh my God, we're basically trying to figure out what's the plan for her education. And this is where that verse came in. Why am I panicking? I'm panicking because the world is moving forward. The children, there's kids her age doing the virtual learning and she's not. But what does God say? Karemi, what does God say? And that is how I've been applying this verse to every aspect in my life. What are those things that are driving me nuts? Trying to, this human race, we're always running, always trying to catch up to the next person, to the one, your neighbor, your family member. It's never enough. And I've learned to now sit, to just breathe, be thankful for the fact that we've been able to survive this far. We've not been kicked out of the house. That is a Thanksgiving. We've not lacked food. We thank God for that. And yes, she's not part of a school anymore, but I believe she's learned something over the past few months. And because she belongs to God, our daughter will be just fine. And as I continue to seek God's will, not only for myself but also for our daughter's life, I pray that God's peace continues to just manifest in my head and in my heart. So that's my short story today. What do you think about that verse? What do you think about what's happening in the world, and how have you felt the same way in terms of meeting the worldly standards, in terms of success and education for your kids, lifestyle, all those things. Have you struggled feeling like you're not enough? Have you felt the same way I have? And if you have, how have you been able to manage those thoughts? How have you been able to not lose your mind? Please share in the comments. I'd really love to hear from you. Let's continue talking, and I'll see you on the next video. We'll be calling it Dear Diary. So yeah, that was my Dear Diary for today. I think learning how. Dear Diary, I am learning not to conform to the standards of this world, but I'm learning to seek God's will instead. See you in the next one. Bye.